Well, hi folks, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. So we've got a great one today. She's over 40 years old. It's the JVC RC-838. Now, this particular boombox is one of my all-time favourites, I think. It's just huge, it's out there. I love the green spider eyes that show the different mode indicators. The lovely big VU meters that were known for being particularly accurate and sensitive. Just a fantastic beast of a thing. I love them to bits. I've actually got one that is new in box, which I think I've shared on a previous video, so do check that out. But that's all very well and good, but I didn't really want to keep using that one all the time. And I do love these things. They've got a built-in phono preamp and everything, so you can hook your record player straight up. You've got RCA line in and line out as well, so they're really useful actually. They've got the biphonic sort of expanded stereo sound, just really cool. So I wanted to have one that was just usable on a daily basis, that perhaps wasn't so clean and tidy, and they're very, very rare in the UK, and I managed to pick one up. It's got a couple of dings and stuff in it, but unfortunately when it arrived it had a fair old issue with it. Now I'll just explain what's wrong with it now. So first up, one of the aerials is I think either loose or just about hanging on by a thread. It's not the right aerial anyway, it's an aftermarket one with a hinge in it and it's barely on there, so we'll need to replace that, but that's not the end of the world. Now I'm just going to turn this on, so power is on, go to radio and see what we've got. So we appear not to have any, have we got anything at all? Am I on the right? Let me just check. Doesn't appear to have any power at all. That might be my fault. It might be my fault. Check that again. Okay, so apparently it's got no power at the moment either. So, but the main thing I wanted to check as well is that when I first sort of got hold of this one, I wanted to check a few things on it, just to make sure there was nothing obviously wrong with it. Was I went to eject the tape as I usually do on these, and nothing happened. So we've got a situation where the door won't eject at all. It's stuck there now, so I can't get the door open. It unlatches. There we go. It's clearly broken. Something's broken. I don't know if I can pop it open and see. I have to have a look at that, but basically that needs to come apart. Now normally on these old boom boxes we tend to get these out and give them a service, give them a clean the switches, change the belts on the cassette mech, all that kind of stuff. Now the only thing with this is I can't tell yet whether the door itself is broken or the mounting inside, but either way we need to get to the very front of the unit but from the rear, which means that we've got to get everything out anyway. So I thought, well, this will be a perfect day to strip it open, have a look inside, see what the radio board's like, see what the cassette mech's like, service that, put new belts in, and I'm really hoping that whatever has broken in the back of this, we should be able to find the missing part and repair it with a bit of luck. But clearly it's had it for now and doesn't work. So anyway, that's enough of the introduction. I'm going to see if I can get some power into this radio, because I wasn't aware that the radio didn't work at all either. And let's just get on with it. Now you may just see nothing much except my hand for a moment, but I'm just going to see if I can actually get this door off. Now there is a retaining pin, a peg. Come on, there we go, that's that one. That sounds worse than it was, but normally that's like a hook, which I'll show you in a second. Right, let's see if we can get the rest of this off now. As I say, it's clearly either broken or unseated or both. So I'm just kind of hoping that we could get the door off. And I don't know on this one whether it actually slides up and out like on some of the old Panasonic RXs, or whether it comes away just but needs the door open. So I'm a little bit at a sticky wicket here, because normally what you would do is put it on its face to unscrew it, and then we can normally need to just press the eject to open the door to clear the mechanism out. But I'm gonna have to just do this upright. So I think we'll just turn it around and see if we can undo the screws this way, like so. So I'll just go ahead and get those screws out and I'll catch you in a second. Okay, so I've just withdrew the screws from the back, assorted lengths, and essentially what we've got here are two aerial connectors on the back cover, an orange one and a white one, plus there is also the negative DC contact there. So that goes up on the board just on that the black contact just there, and then there's the orange and white cables from the antennae. Now what I did just do is take the cover off, obviously, as I've just shown you, and this piece fell out. So that was rattling around in the bottom of the case there, and it's a spring, if you can see that. Basically it's a spring there and a broken plastic stud. So I think what it might be, and I'm hoping what it might be, because I can't find anything else loose in this at the moment, is the actual spring that holds the counter pressure against the door. And that thing there, I'm hoping the residue is still mounted to the front case, and we should be able to repair that with a bit of luck. And I'm hoping it's that rather than an actual broken cassette door. So I don't know whether we can actually see much of what's going on yet. Let me just move the unit face down. I'm hesitating now, of course, because the door is still open, and I'm a bit worried that I might not be able to lie it on its face, so I might end up breaking it. So let's just have a look a minute. Right, I'm just gonna try and bring this camera in. I don't know if you're going to see anything at all, to be honest. Well, there's the mechanism, obviously. You can see the flywheel there, big metal flywheel, and the contact leaf switch just down in there. What else have we got? Yeah, it needs a bit of a clean, to be honest. You can see the speakers there, which are 3.2 ohms, and they're beasts, so it must be like 8-inch, I think, something like that. So the board itself looks in good condition, the radio board. Just having a look through there, there's nothing obviously wrong with it, but the radio didn't seem to be working very well. It might just need a clean. The switches might just need going through, as will all of these, because I expect these mode switches might have something to do with it. If they're dirty or corroded, they could well be stopping the signal path being passed through. So that's to look at. Interesting also, look, you've got can you see the numbers here for the joints for the different contacts? That's quite interesting. A lot of the JVC RCs have got those two-part boards with those solders all the way along there, but I haven't seen them all numbered up like that before. Right, anyway, I'm waffling a bit. I can see that the battery terminals have seen better days. There's obviously issues there here, or have been. You can see evidence of previous battery leaks, so we'll need to clean all of those up at some point. Yeah, but for now I'm just having a look around. Right, I'm going to come back in a second if I can find where I think that piece is broken from. I think what I'm going to do is just raise the thing up on two upturned chocolate tubs, and the idea is I'm going to put these face down so that the speaker grills, which are rugged enough for static loads, just going to put those face down on top of there, and then that will allow the actual cassette door to hang freely. I'll just put a bit more space between them, but it'll allow the door to hang freely in that space whilst I work on it without having to break the door any more than it already is. And that will give you a better idea. You can probably see the door hanging down in there. and so that's just going to take the pressure off of that whilst we go ahead and work from that side. Good news is I think I can see where that broken piece of plastic has come from. I don't know if we'll be able, I'm just getting the torch in there, whether I can get you to be able to even see where it is. There you go. Can you see that? Just in, it's out of focus. I can't tap the focus at the same time as holding the torch on the phone, unfortunately, but you can see the there you go. You can see where that, I think that's where it's mounted. So hopefully it's just that piece there that's broken off that we'll be able to heat weld and resin just to repair that. I'm hoping then that might sort the issue out. Yeah, the whole thing needs a clean and a service anyway, and these things are, well, proper old school. I think these came out in the late 70s and early 80s, so there's a multi-plug or two around there, but mostly it's just lots of wires and carnage and yeah, lots of things to strip out and get to. So I think without further ado, I'm going to make a start at getting the see if I can get the carriage out for the tape mech. I don't think I've got to get the board out if I can help it, so wish me luck. Okay, so earth from the chassis, another earth there from the chassis. Okay, what else do we have? B plus and the negative, multi-plug, and what else is there? Also got, yep, another multi-plug here, a 3-pin multi-plug that's attached to the board. Yeah, a lot of these are crossover ones, I think. So although in theory we're not, yeah, this is interesting. So in theory, although we're not actually taking the radio board out, there's a lot of stuff carrying probably power and comms back and forth. So we will just need to be mindful of those as we go. So one's just got the one white cable on it down there. Gosh, this is going to be fun, isn't it? And then screw wise for the carriage, I can see one there, yep, one there, and then no doubt there'll be a couple more dotted around inside somewhere. So it's actually a couple of weeks later now. I've been working on some other projects, but I thought I'd get on with this 838 again, and I've just got this one out of the chassis. So there it is. So there's the front casing just there. Now there's not much left really, to be honest. All you can see there is dust and dirt, some speakers, and there's literally just one multi-cable there which connects the speakers onto the main board. Now I can see the issue with the eject mechanism. You may have remembered from before that this part here was rattling around in the back. I could just about see that there was some damage there when I looked through the cassette door before. So that's what's prompted me to go ahead and actually get all this stuff out and try and fix it. But you can see how grotty and dirty it is. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, is actually get some pliers on that bit of plastic on that stem there, unscrew it, and then obviously clean all this area up and try and glue resin, maybe heat weld this and put some resin around it to try and reinforce it. And I can't really demonstrate this with one hand, but effectively I think if I can get this mounted back again, I can actually get the mechanism to work. So I'm quite relieved at least that the cassette door isn't broken. It is just a case of trying to get the retaining spring for the eject push mounted back on there. Hopefully we'll be able to do that and it'll be able to take the strain later on. But basically, yeah, the cassette door, I'm delighted to report, is not broken. So when we actually, you can see now it's closed at the moment actually, and it'll eject and it will fall open. It just won't. Hang on, let me put this back again. There we go, it snaps in. But obviously what it will do is it will spring open instead once it does have this particular sort of leaf spring attachment back on. So that's the plan. That's the thing that really needs to be fixed. Now, going on from there, we've also then got to do the cleanup operation on the internals. Someone's been in here before, not done a terribly good job. Now, I don't know if they're the ones that actually broke this or what's happened to it, but I found sort of bits of junk in here, and there was one of the screws. You'll see, I'll try and be neat and methodical about it and put these in relative positions when I put them on the egg crates there. But one of these blue chassis screws was missing, I noticed, when I actually went to remove the chassis, but found it actually stuck to one of the magnets on the speaker. So that's where that went. Also, let me just move around the other side somewhere. I'm just going to keep this going so you can see around the back of my lights and stuff. But basically you've got a really rusty connection there for the battery terminal. That one there is okay actually. This just needs a bit of a wipe out and a clean, of course, but yeah, that one's okay. This one's completely manky though, and I did notice whilst I've been undoing all of this that one of these is actually held together, or has a bunch of like insulation tape. Let me just find it. Down in there you might see it's all taped up and a bit of a mess. So I'm guessing someone's tried to butcher some sort of earth or something from the battery connections on there. You never know, that might have been why they took it apart and broke the eject door in the mechanism in the first place. But anyway, that's another job to do. So we'll clean all this out in due course, replace that spring with a clean one, obviously sort that connection out properly. But yeah, you can see she's a bit of a beast behind here. There's an awful lot going on, and I'll probably tackle one stage at a time. Now, I think from memory, the radio board wasn't too bad. I can't honestly remember. It's been a little while since I worked on this one. But you can see it's all sort of dirty and grimy in there. So what we will be doing is giving this a darn good clean up and servicing the switches and the knobs and stuff. And obviously getting all this, look at this state of these. They just need a really good clean and lubrication. And they should work fine. I mean, they're old, they're discoloured because they're proper old, obviously, 40 odd years old now. But yeah, they don't need to be in that mess. Now, here's the tape mech, of course. Now, what I might just do is, I'll see if I can get in with some better light. I'm kind of in my own light here a little bit, but you can probably see just how grimy and filthy this is. Obviously, I can get in here now to clean the heads. I can do the capstan, the pinch roller and the idler tyres. I give them a rubber renew treatment and all that kind of stuff. But actually, we also need to get this deck out anyway because it's bound to need new belts. So I think that's going to be a job in its own right. It's just removing this mech and putting all new belts on there, giving the whole thing a proper good clean, cleaning out the chassis, as I say, and the casing, getting all this grime and dust and fluff out of it, cleaning the tuner window, fixing that mechanism there for the eject on the eject door. Yes, there's a fair old bit to do. I mean, this is going to be a bit of a labour of love, I think, this one, but I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be all right. Most of it's here. It's all pretty much present and correct. I'm just going to swing past my lights a minute again, but I think basically, yeah, we should be all right with this. I think all of the knobs were present on the top. I can't honestly remember. I've got like a bag of sliders and stuff that I took off originally and kept safe. And I think they are all there. If not, I'm actually thinking about investing in a 3D printer because I've got quite a few different boom boxes and stuff. I mean, there's you'll see some actually on these racks here, and they're all kind of complete to a degree, or to a large degree in fact, and you tend to find that there's like knobs and switches and stuff just are missing. I've got a whole bunch more by my feet and obviously the other side of this bench, hundreds of the things, but yeah, whilst normally they're all complete, there are one or two that are missing the odd switch and the odd knob and stuff like that, so it might be nice to get a 3D printer and seeing if we can perhaps recreate some of those, and battery covers and stuff like that, of course. So anyway, that's a quick sort of midterm update. I've not done anything on this for a while, so I've kind of dropped this piece of the video in as a random kind of monologue, really, just to show you where we're at. And basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the get this bit cleaned up, see if I can sort that spring out. I won't screw it down yet. I'll probably leave it for a few days to cure, because what I'll do is I'll put that stem back on, build it back up, and just leave it to go proper hard, and then that way it's got the best chance of working once it's in place. Okay, so next time I see you, that should be cleaned up and the resin will be in place, and hopefully that door will be working. Okay, so it's a couple of days later now, and there's the stem that had broken off. Might not be the prettiest job in the world, but it's not too bad really. Basically what I've done is glued the two parts back together on here, and then with resin, and encapsulated it with resin as well, so that it flows all the way around and underneath. So that's absolutely solid and should resist all of the torque. I've kept that little nib just there clear though, because on the actual springs that locate into there, you'll see, there they are, there's little nibs there. Now it's actually, hang on, I'm trying to do this one-handed, but it's basically that way round, and they will locate, or should locate, into there, and then one will go onto this tang and one will go into that tang, and hopefully the cassette door will work. Now you can see at the moment, if I just pop it, you can see that it was all sort of floppy and broken, and obviously that's the whole reason for taking this apart in the first place. Everything else I think kind of worked, but obviously without the cassette door working, we're up a bit of a tree really. So first thing I'm going to do now is just mount the camera and see if we can get this cassette door to mount properly. If so, that's the mechanical fix done, and that will be it before we actually start the servicing proper. So I've tried to frame this as best as I can, but basically we will also give this a better clean at some point, but for now I just want to see if it works. So what I've got to do is put one tang across the top and one across that one, and that does two things really. What it essentially does is the bottom one kind of holds it in place, and the top one acts as the spring to push it forward. So I'm kind of in my own way a little bit right at the moment, but I'm just going to screw these two bits of metal back into there, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Right, that should be it. So if we snap the door closed like so and open it again, close, open, close, open, there we go. Looks like he's working okay. And hopefully you can get a bit of a look in there now just to see that in action again. So eject down, lovely. And from the front side, as it were, we now press eject, and that's nice and solid. It's not going anywhere. It's closing properly. It's not hanging loose. It's not broken. So there you go then. That's fantastic news. So I did hope that it wasn't actually a broken cassette door, and fortunately it wasn't. The brake was actually on the casing, so we have managed to fix that, which is fantastic news. So as far as the sort of mechanical side of things goes, that was great. We've done that, and I know the whole thing needs a decent clean, and that'll sort of kind of come as we're working on this project. But I think one of the next projects now will be to tackle the cassette mech. So we'll clean up the idlers, get all the rubbers, put some rubber renew on there, clean all those up, and replace all of the belts, degrease it, relube it, all that kind of stuff. Then there'll be the radio to work on, and again just the same really, just checking all of that over and cleaning all of the switches and getting all the contacts clean and the ins and outs clean and all that kind of stuff. So I think we'll call that a day there for part one, and then I think we'll come back and work on the mech, in the next part. So thanks very much for watching. This concludes part 1 of the 838 kind of introduction and major sort of first fix, which was the big issue with this initially, the cassette door. So hope you enjoyed that. I hope you find it useful. Please do consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell for updates, because I will be working on this. I've also got an RCM90 project on the go as well, and a whole bunch of show and tells and unboxing videos. We've got boomboxes, 8-tracks, personal stereos, vintage games, all kinds of stuff. So it'd be great to have you on board. In the meantime, stay safe. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.